Welcome to the podcast, where we teach you how to create marketing that pops. Get ready for refreshing conversations with industry experts, trendsetters, and creative minds that'll leave you bubbling with inspiration. Get ready to turn up the volume on your business. Let's get popping. Welcome back to Marketing That Pops. I'm Olivia.
And I'm Michelle.
And we're in 2025, which is insane. That's crazy, right?
Yeah, that's so crazy. I can't believe
I don't know.
I feel like it's been forever since we've done a podcast.
I know. It also feels like we've been in 2024. That last year flew by, but it also seemed like we were in 2024 for 3 years.
Yeah, right. I know it. And plus we had MJ BizCon, and then getting back from that, and then it was the holidays, and
oh my gosh.
We're off. Yeah. So that was, time goes by so fast.
Well, we're back though, and that's all that matters. We're here. Yeah. So today what we're going to be talking about is kind of basically recapping 2024 and then talking about some predictions that we have for 2025. But of course, with every podcast that we do, we start with our debunked myth. So last year we talked a lot about AI and just automation as a whole. So the myth today is you don't need a marketing team in 2025. AI and automation can do it all. What do you have to say to that?
False. Just because, like so many people think that this AI is going to fix everything and do all of this work. And it really isn't. You need a marketing team that understands the AI and that can they know how to get the right results out of it. And you can just use it as a tool to help inspire you or get new ideas or get outlines. And it kind of gives you that, oomph to get things rolling. Kind of like that writer's block, where you see where it's like, okay, the cursor's just blinking at you. Yep. Well, now you can go to an AI tool and go, okay, I need to write about this. What's some good topics, and then it will kind of help move things along a little bit faster so that you can be more efficient.
Absolutely. AI cannot replace strategy and creativity. I mean, it just can't. I mean, like Michelle saying, it's a tool that can be utilized, but those moments that you have with your clients that, are kind of just like off the wall things, are like, you know what? I just had this thought. What if we did this crazy idea and it has totally nothing to do with it, but it ends up working? You can't get that from an AI tool, No.
You have to have those creative brains because not everybody has them. And some people are very left-brained, and us right-brained people, it just comes to us.
Yes. AI is a game changer, but it's not the whole game.
Exactly.
So 2024, I feel like obviously it was the rise of AI and automation, but let's just talk about it. I feel like this was kind of like the year where all the AI tools just basically got so robust. And it's like we had some of these things, but they didn't work like this before.
No. And, people are starting to play with it and either getting frustrated because they're not getting the right results and thinking, oh, this doesn't work. I'm not going to use this anymore. And, it's really evolved to where, well, it's a machine. You are not, it doesn't know what you're thinking. You have to communicate that to it to get the results. So I think a lot of things have come out in 2024 about, making sure that how to create prompts and to get the results you're looking for. And that's really the big thing is if you're not putting in the right information, you're not going to get the right results.
Right. And not every AI tool is going to work the way that you want it to. So you really got to play around and see like what is going to be the best tool for what I'm trying to accomplish. Like, which one is going to be able to help me if I'm trying to create an image? Like, what is the best tool for that? Because some of them, it's like you might even waste your time trying to like put all these prompts in there and you're still not getting the results. And it could be just like, this tool is not going to get you what you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like when I spoke at MJ, one thing that I was saying is there's a million tools out there. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. Oh, I want to use that. I want to use that. But you really have to narrow it down and so that you can really like understand the tool and like dig deep into it versus having all of these different tools and then, kind of knowing about each of them. So you really have to decide, okay, am I going to use ChatGPT or am I going to use this for copy? And then what am I going to use for images? What am I going to use for video? And just really kind of have one for each of those areas and just focus and then really learn them. And there's tons of videos on, each of those. But we do have a list of tools that if anybody's interested, like we could provide. And then we also have that prompt document we could give you on how to create and good prompts and get the best results too.
The other thing I wanted to talk about was this past year, we saw like basically the rise of short form videos. I mean, it's been around, but TikTok just kind of soared even more this past year in 2024. I keep wanting to say this year. But there were so many creative things that kind of stood out with the ideas of like even just people in the music industry and how like a sound could really just elevate their whole music career and it could just go viral. We saw a lot of like songs that had come out years prior and now they're getting recognition. Like I came out with this song 10 years ago and now it's become a sound on TikTok and everybody knows it again. It's like getting a new life to it. So social media platforms have definitely been able to elevate the game. Last year, we also talked a lot about brand storytelling and just brands creating their brand voice. And we saw a lot of that in 2024 with brands really honing in on their personalities and like using that to leverage their audience and just like create better connections. Like you could really see them like interacting in the comments and just basically just having more like fun with it, which was really fun to see.
Yeah, I think one thing that's kind of cool too that I don't think that they were doing this a lot before, but for sure in 24 they were, where if somebody has a video, maybe it's on Instagram, but you're not in a place where you can actually listen, where they type the words on it so that you're like, okay, I can't listen right now, but I see them saying something. And then it kind of fix that problem because then it's like, oh, okay, that's what they were saying, and I didn't have time to listen to it actually, but at least I could read it. So that's like kind of a cool thing.
I feel like that became basically like the basic. Like if you don't have that, like nobody's watching your video because like a lot of us are scrolling maybe when you shouldn't be scrolling or you're in a public place and it's like I'm just listening with the sound off.
Yes. My husband, he drives me nuts with this. So he will be at a restaurant or whatever, and he has the sound on, and then I'm just like, dude, shut that off. Like people don't want to hear that, And it's kind of like if you're in a restaurant and somebody gets on the phone like, wah, wah, wah. Like, dude, shut up. Like don't sit at the table and do that. Walk out.
Use your captions.
Right. Yeah. So it's, and he's an IT guy. He should know better, but he's also for an IT guy. He's kind of been out of it as he's been like owning a company and had let that skill, I guess, go. And so it's like, dude, don't do that. Look, you can see how you can watch what they're saying. Oh.
Gosh, Michelle, you got to teach them all the tips and tricks.
And like the thing is that I remember when our kids were back still at the house, maybe in high school or whatever, and they would be like on their phones, and they might not have their headphones on, and he'd be watching TV, and then the sound would be going, and he'd get really annoyed with them, like, turn that off. Now he's doing it. Like, I have to like reprimand.
The tables have turned.
Stop doing that. It's irritating me.
So last year, obviously, we saw a lot of good marketing campaigns, and we talked about some of those, and I'll put the links for some of the blogs that we wrote about. But there was also a few fails. So we've talked a lot about like AI, but when Google came out with like their announcements and talking about Gemini, they had an ad in the 2024 Olympics, and basically that ad was showcasing how Gemini could be used to like write a letter. So I think it was like a commercial where Gemini was assisting a kid or a child to write a letter, and it basically just sparked a lot of outrage. And basically people were arguing that like there was like no genuine human effort and creativity, especially with like children, because that is where all that should be cultivated at that age. So they kind of received some backlash when that ad came out.
Yeah. I think that's something else to be wary of, because the temptation is to use AI for like writing blogs and things like that. And I just saw a study yesterday where it was evaluating the AI blogs versus the human blogs. And still, Google is loving the actual human interaction. It knows, and plus it's because there's that human element of it, and people know how to relate to people, and AI just doesn't. They can spark the ideas and help you kind of push along that way, but you really still need to be actually writing your blogs. Sorry, because I know that is something that everybody dreads.
Yeah. And you start to, when you use AI, you start to see like there's patterns and like repetitiveness in certain word choice that they use. And it's like you can just totally tell, oh, this was written with AI, this was written with AI. And it's like you got to be careful with that, because you don't want to sound like a robot. You want it to be authentic and human, and as much as we love it, there are problems with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Another basically marketing faux pas was for Bumble. They had came out, Bumble's a dating app, if you guys don't know, but they had come out with these Bumble like billboards, and the campaigns were basically all about them saying like, full well celibacy is not the answer. And which was just, it's kind of crazy for them to just say that as a dating app, and just be like, okay, well, everybody's on here just to have sex, which is, it just received a lot of backlash. Just making those kind of like sweeping statements like that. And I think it just, a lot of women found great offense to it, because the owner of Bumble is a woman. And so I think they just found it like kind of just definitely off-putting. Like, don't make my decisions for me, Bumble. Don't tell me what I'm looking for. Right. Even if that isn't what they're looking for, don't tell me.
Right. And it's like, know your audience too. And, there might be people that are on there, they're not just looking for that. They may have religious beliefs that it's like, no, I'm not going to be doing that yet, And so how do you just have to understand your audience before you start putting things out there.
Yeah. And I do feel like this generation, like even like the Gen Z generation, like they're very open to other people's beliefs and preferences, and they want people to be able to have their own choice. So I think it was, even if they didn't have any of those like religious beliefs or kind of like that background, they just were like, no, like that's kind of weird that you would tell somebody that.
Yeah, right.
So this is a popular one, and this is still ongoing from 2024. So the movie It Ends With Us came out, yes,
I know.
in 2024, and it just received so much criticism. And it's now going through legalities. But the main problem was, just like in the promotion of the film, it was like nothing was matching with what the topics were of this it's very serious topic. And I mean, there's so much going on there.
Yeah. And I know, like, I've heard about, okay, there was, this whole cancel, Blake Lively, blah, blah, blah. And then she came out with this lawsuit, and now Justin is like countersuing. And, all of these like reality shows are like talking about it and saying that's not true, or like people are taking sides, and it's like, well, you can't really take sides because you don't know,
they went there.
Unless you have the court documents to look at all of the information. It's really hard to know. I mean, the latest thing I heard was that one of the things that Blake's going after him for is that there's supposed to be some, I forget what they call it, but it's like a scene consultant or something, or like sexual scenes, and or like
intimacy coordinator, I think.
And yes, and basically that she didn't have time to like meet with them beforehand, but then she's saying that they didn't, she didn't have the opportunity to do that, but he has like emails and that and says, I don't have time. I'll just, we'll just go with it or whatever. And now it's coming back to like get her. And,
yeah, we'll have to figure out what happens in 2025 with all that. But man, did that overshadow? It just overshadowed the book. I mean, can you imagine being that author and like your book has been adapted into a film and now it has this whole other life? And it's like, I mean, obviously she didn't intend for that. So it's a lot. And a lot of people are talking about how it's basically like what happened in the book is like being, in a sense, kind of being portrayed in real life, which is crazy. Obviously differences, but
right. Yeah.
So crazy and going on there.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
So with cannabis, we have seen some growth and some basically some sophistication with like different products that have come out, some education, but we've also seen some like cracking down. So where there might be some leniency in some states, we have seen that there has also been some major restrictions. So in New York, we've also seen like a lot of dispensaries have been open up, but they're also not allowed to do a lot of sales or promotion. So they've had to do some unique things to basically tell people about their businesses. And now we're starting to see that the government is kind of cracking down on them for those who kind of did do sales, and now they're getting slapped on the wrist, and basically they're getting fined, and they're saying, if you do this again, we're going to shut down your business.
That's crazy. And the whole thing blows my mind, because the state gave them a license to have a business.
Right.
And they know what the business is. So it's like, do you want them to be successful or not? Because it's like you're trying to not let them market their product. So it's like a lot of dispensaries are not going to make it if they can't do any of this. It's so frustrating.
Well, it doesn't help when they open it up to so many different people, but then they can't do anything to basically drive people to go to their store with good promotions or sales or, even rewards.
Yeah, because it gets oversaturated then, because the states are looking at, money. But it's like, dude, you could get so much more money if you just let them market their services.
Yeah.
Come on.
It makes it so difficult for them. And they're just trying to be business owners and just make it work. So that's hard. Hopefully we see some changes in that this year. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. Yeah. I know it's been tough in Michigan too, oversaturation. And
yeah, a lot of businesses closing or being bought out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'd like to talk about our predictions for 2025. We're done with 2024. That's old news. In 2025, I think that we're going to see we're going to get some new social media platforms, because with, we don't know what's going to happen with TikTok, because that might get banned. So who knows there. But I think we're going to see the rise of more niche social media platforms where people will kind of go there to, I don't know, I think we're going to get back to a more unique posting platform in a way that is old school and the start of Instagram, when it was mostly just about posting pictures and not necessarily about selling all these things. I think we're going to try to get back to more of an organic way. As what people are kind of craving. That's my prediction.
Yeah. I don't know if you've noticed with podcasts or not, but people are now starting to charge for podcasts for special content. So I could see something like that where dispensaries, they can't really market it, out there in the public, but if you pay to subscribe to this special podcast where they're talking about, here's a discount code or here's a this, because it's not public knowledge, you have to pay to be able to be in this kind of group. But that's, a lot of companies are starting to do that. So they're trying to figure out, everybody's trying to figure out how, okay, these are the rules. What's a way around it?
What's
beat the system and still survive, basically.
Yeah. I think we're gonna see a growth in more of those immersive experiences. Meta just came out with their new VR thing. I think we're gonna continue to see more of that, because we love AI, and I think it's just going to continue to be more interactive. And I think businesses are going to try to figure out a way to create those memorable campaigns using those types of tools.
I think video too, people tend to shy away from the video just because it's time consuming and things like that. But I think developers know this, and we know that you get better results when you have the videos. So there's going to be tools that come about that make it so easy for people to edit videos and that just because of social mainly, you know, and I can see like YouTube, you know, going crazy and, you know, coming out with things too. So
Yeah. I do feel like we'll see like a rise of like more people using like shorts and stuff, especially if TikTok starts to decline. And you're already kind of seeing that people are getting annoyed with, oh, shop the link below, or like, I got this TikTok product, and it's kind of like losing its appeal of what it used to be, and it's all about, you know, basically influencers influencing. And it's like people get sick of that. They just want to either be entertained, or they just want to, but yeah, mostly just be entertained.
And I think one thing regarding the influencers is that people know they're getting paid to say whatever it is that they're, you know, getting paid to do. And so is it authentic, you know? And that's, you know, something that we really got to pay attention to and figure out is, you know, at what point is it not worth influencers? Like, is it the big guys, you know, the Kim Kardashians? It's like, you know, she's just making money. So whoever, you know, wants her to promote it, you know, the price just keeps going up and up. But it's those micro influencers, you know, that if you do want to start with influencers, you know, start low, you know, start at, you know, the smaller.
Yeah, because those are the people that are going to keep it real. And I think that that's what we want. We don't want to feel like we're being sold to, even if we're being sold to. Like, we want to be like, okay, does this actually produce a result? Does this thing actually work? Like, like, tell me the real information. Don't lie to me. Because things are expensive in 2025. People don't want to waste their money.
Yeah, for sure.
So those are just a few of the predictions that we have for 2025. If you want to get into more of our predictions, we have a whole blog on that. So you can go to thrivepop.com/blog and you can read all about our 2025 predictions. We also have those freebies for you guys. We'll have those listed below, those prompts for AI tools. And then we already talked about this a little bit, but you guys know Michelle was at MJ BizCon and she did a whole presentation about AI. So if you guys want to check that out too, we'll have that listed below for you.
And also subscribe and give us a review, because
absolutely
we are trying to grow and it really helps us. Hopefully the content that we're providing is helpful to you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for listening, and we will catch you on our next episode. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening with us today. Stay tuned for the latest in web marketing and design from ThrivePOP. Want to be a pop star? Head over to thrivepop.com/podcast to join our mailing list for episode notifications, sneak peeks, listener feedback, and more.